Hello everybody, my name is Connie from cutbyconnie.com and I'm here with another little make the cut tutorial, this time on how to add a surname to a fancy initial. A lot of people are making these for gifts or to sell, and they use them make them with vinyl and put them on 6 by 6, 8 by 8 or 12 by 12 tiles. It makes a really nice gift, so we're going to learn how to do that today. Alright, let's get started. Here I've made our name, our last name's Haney, and me and my husband got married in 1978, so that's why this says established down here at the bottom. And you can make these many different ways. You can use different fonts, different looks. I've seen some people, have the Haney going down the side vertically. So there's really lots of ways. I'm just going to show you this particular way, so that it just gives you a stepping stone to make what you want to make. We're going to do McTurnan because my daughter just got married this past July, and so their last name's McTurnan, and so I had tried with the little C, and I ended up liking it better with the bigger C, so I'm just going to leave it all capitals like this as I make this one. First of all, let's talk about the font that you'll need for this particular one. Like I said, there's lots of different ones out there, but we're going to use the Annabelle font for the initial, and this looks very similar to the one that I had seen on the Make the Cut forum, and thank you to Anna, because I think she was also on the Make the Cut forum and she had showed us this, but she's also on the Make the Cut fan page on Facebook, and so I emailed her and she got back to me really quickly when I asked her what font she used, because I was having a hard time finding the other one of the picture she showed, but this one is going to work really nicely. Okay, and now the font that's down here for the established and for the McTurnan is Trajan Pro. I think that it's just on your Windows, in your Windows fonts anyway, but if it isn't, I have both the download link for that particular font and for the Annabelle, and I'll have those posted on my blog so that you can get those, download those. So the first thing you need to do is bring in your font, of course, and I'm not going to go over how to bring in your font, but you import the font into your Make the Cut if you don't have Annabelle already in there. You would push this little box and it's going to come up on your computer, and you tell it where the font is and it puts it in. Now, one thing I do want to say, when this Annabelle came in, the first thing I saw was this particular way, or the way the font looks. So if I was to double click and bring this letter in, let me make it just a little bit bigger so you can see. That's another thing. If you make these videos full screen, they are a little bit easier to see. So you can use this one, and it would be the same way as any other to break it and just to get it to look like this. But this particular font has this one down here at the bottom, and so it comes in almost done for you. You just have to get rid of a couple things, but really it's about the same using both of them, but I just wanted you to know that, so in case you saw this on my screen and then you downloaded it and saw the other ones, you'd think you'd have the wrong font. So the way that you get rid of the little box around the edges is to click it, and the easiest way is you go ahead and break it, which that's up here at the top where it says break, and your toolbar might be on the side or on the bottom, but that's the break little icon right there. And then the easiest way is to come over here to your layer properties, and you can see these are highlighted or outlined in red because that's what I've got selected on my mat. So if I scroll down and I come down here to the bottom, and usually it's all the way at the bottom, and I just keep scrolling all the way to the bottom, I've got these two boxes right here, and that's what you need to get rid of. So you just X and X on the other one, and it gets rid of what you don't need, and then you just would magic select that and then join it again, and then that way you've got your font ready to go, your initial ready to split and to put the name inside. So just wanted to show you how to do that real quick. So now we've got our M here and ready to split it. Now if I go back to this Haney, the letter here, before we take it apart, if you just take it apart, you're not going to have much hanging out down at the bottom, and so what I did was I split it and I like drug the bottom down just a little bit, So if I go back to McTurnan, you can see here, so like this box here, if this, and I had just pulled these in just from make the basic shapes just to save some time. So you know, and then if I was put this over here, like so, this is where the word's going to go in the middle. And you can see if I was to do it right here, first of all, you might not be able to tell that it's an M. There is a good bit sticking down at the bottom, but let's see if I do a preview if we can see what that. No, the preview doesn't help us to see it, but you just might not be able to tell that it's an M, and we want it to be able to see that it's an M. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take a box, and we're going to hide the bottom part of the letter. And I just came down, and you know, it doesn't matter if this is centered or not, but I'm trying to cover up the bottom of the letter, and I just came down enough to where, you know, that little middle part of the M was showing. And I did that, you know, the same thing on the Haney. I came down far enough that you could see this little space so that you could tell it was an H. So once you get that bottom part covered up, then you're going to magic select all of that, and you're going to come up here to the top, and you're going to find your Boolean Join, and you can click that icon, and you can also right click, say Shape Magic, and then say Boolean Join. And what we need is that top one there, and then I'm just going to say apply. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to cut and that off of the mat. What we need to do is we need to come up here to the top, and we need to start another project, another Make the Cut project. It won't work if you just put it on another little tab right here within the project, because when you back step to get your other part, it's going to back step what you did, and so it's not going to save. So just open up another Make the Cut project at the very top, and then I'm just going to say right click and paste in place, and that's just going to be a holder page for that, because I'm going to come back and get it in a minute. So now what I need to do is come up here to the undo button, and I'm just going to undo twice to where it gets back to where I didn't do that. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to highlight it. We want to come up here to Boolean Join, and then this time we're going to choose the bottom, but I don't want it to look like that. I actually want it to look like that. It's the intersect, and that's the bottom of our letter, and I'm going to say apply. So now we can just leave that right there for now. I'm going to go back up here to this Make the Cut project 2 that I had started, and I'm just going to highlight it, right click, and say cut. Come back to that main page, right click, and say paste in place. And now my letter has been split in half. Well, down, you know, further down in half, not exactly in half, but it's ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just highlight this bottom, and I'm just going to sort of drag it down just a little bit to just give me a little bit more space so it looks better. And then I'm just going to take the bigger box, and I'm just going to sort of put it right here and just adjust it and sort of look. I still want the top of that box to just be right there so that I still see that little middle part of that M. And so I'm just looking at that now, and actually it looks pretty good. There's enough of this, you know, down here at the bottom that it looks right. Of course, you could make it skinnier, but you know, you want to save enough space to put your name in there. So that actually looks pretty good, and I actually like that one. So now what we need to do, you would think that we would just go ahead and do a weld. So like if we went ahead and just you know, had it like this, and then we said weld, and then you could come in and, you know, bring in your box, you know, and take that out by doing a Boolean join, then put your McTurnan in. But the thing is, if we do that, we can't get this centered and this neat by stacking it with the alignment. So I don't like to do it that way. So we're just going to back up, and we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it a little differently. So the first thing I want to do is I want to come down here and just go ahead, and before I do anything, I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put it right over top. And also, this is the time when you need to sort of see where you want this to be, uh, as far as centered. So what I need to do is I need to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to click the top of this letter. Hold, while I'm still holding down my shift key, I'm going to click the bottom of the letter. So then I'm going to say join. And all I'm joining is just the top of the letter and the bottom of the letter where I have it. But remember, I just moved it down with my mouse, so it's not exactly straight. So while that's selected, I'm just going to right click and say align in space and say align. Actually, I need to align vertical center. Oh, I know why it's not letting me. Sorry. I need to back up one time, because actually it is supposed to be separate, and I think I had joined it. So hold your shift key, click the top, then click the bottom, and don't say join yet. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Right click, then you say align in space, align vertical center. And you probably didn't see it move that much, but what it did is it took the top of the M and the bottom of the M and put it in the center so that they're right on top of each other where they're supposed to be. Now I can say join, now that I've got those centered. And I joined it, but I didn't join it to this part, see? And I could have moved that out of the way, but you just want to join that part. And then at this point, you want to, sort of get this centered where it needs to be. Now you can select this whole thing and say align in space, align vertical center, and it may look right. On my Haney that I did, when I did that, I still had to adjust it over just a little bit because it didn't look quite right once I got it done. And so you might have to do that too with your particular letter. And what you're sort of going by is your established down here at the bottom. You want it to, sort of be a, the same amount sticking out on both sides. Now I've got that established, the whole wording joined there. And I'm just going to select all again. I'm going to say align in space, vertical center, and just see how that looks. And I'm looking at how much is sticking out right here on the right hand side, but you've also sort of got to look at this little leaf up here, and we can sort of change that a little bit after we get the McTurnan in, but it would be a little bit more trouble because we'd have to break again. So this is when I like to really sort of look at it and change it. And I think that it just needs to go to the right just a little bit. So I'm going to highlight it and then just use my arrow keys on my keyboard and just move it over just a touch, because I think that's how it needs to be. And if you click it, see, it just selects just that. And you can also do like this, and it'll select just that. So now the only thing that we're really looking at is we're looking right at the top to make sure it just goes over the bottom part of that top of the M, so that when we weld it, it sticks together. And then down here at the bottom, we're looking at the bottom of that box to see what's hanging out and if we like the amount that's hanging out. Okay, so now what we need to do is we would need to weld this. But before we weld it, what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to bring in this longer box, because if we go back to look at the Haney, you see that it's got these two longer black lines that are sort of like holding the Haney. So that's what we're making now. And if I don't go ahead and center this now or stack it now, I won't be able to later, because it'll be joined with the M, and then it would stack it directly on top or the middle of the M, and we don't want it to do that. So just while that box is in here and it's sticking out a little bit on this side and a little bit on that side, I'm just going to take my cursor and instead of trying to select both of them, and what I'm doing is just making sure I'm grabbing both of those. And then I'm just going to say do right click, align in space, and then say stack. And what that's going to do is it's going to get that top longer box exactly in the middle, because I said stack. It's aligning it vertically and horizontally, so that I know that my black line at the top, my black line at the bottom is going to look good. It's going to be even in the same size. So now the only hard part is we need to now um, weld, but we don't want to weld this box right here, this longer box. But it's actually pretty simple to just um, highlight the M, because when I click that M, it's going to just select just that M, because I had joined it a while ago. And then I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm just going to come down here, and I'm just going to touch that. See how when I touch that bottom underneath box with my cursor, it turns red? So I'm just going to click that, and then what that's done, because I'm holding down the shift key, it's selected that back box and that M at the same time. And so for those two, we want to weld it. So that's the next step, and I just say weld. So now it's welded. Um, the it's welded it on there, and I don't want to move anything right now because I've still got that top box exactly where it needs to be for my next step, which is the Boolean Join, to get that open area in here for my McTurnan. So then what I want to do is I just want to, and remember, a Boolean Join can only be two shapes. That's why we had to weld that box to the M first. And of course I couldn't put the established in here because, see up here, the Boolean Join is not going to be even to where it's even an option, because you can only Boolean join two things at a time. So now that I've magic selected all of this without moving anything, then I just go back up here to the top and I say Boolean Join. And then the very first one that comes up, the AB difference, is exactly what I want, and I just say apply. And so now I've got my space down here to put my McTurnan. And then, so after you've got your McTurnan in the right font, you want to just bring it in like this. And this one needs to be just a little bit smaller. So let's see, I'm going to actually move that a little bit with my keys, with my keyboard. And then I'm just going to make, and this can be adjusted. With my Haney, I actually, when I brought it in, the letters were a little closer together. Spreading them out totally, this whole width looked funny, but I did put a little bit more space in between each of these than it came in on the mat to make it look right. Now with the McTurnan, I just want it to be, I want them to be a little bit taller, just so it looks better in there with that. And like I said, my McTurnan is joined. I can't really do a stack here with these two because it would bring the McTurnan right up to the middle. And I can't really do the vertical or horizontal either. So this is where you're just going to have to sort of judge it yourself and just make sure that you just have just the wording selected, and you're just going to have to sort of eyeball it and just see if it's where you want it, centered or wherever. And then the established down at the bottom, same way. You just want to sort of like just sort of eyeball it and just see if it's where you want it. And then at that point, it is ready to cut. You can actually magic select everything if you want to and say join. And if I come over here, and while I'm at this, let me just explain this. When I'm coming over here to the right, if I make my box a little bit smaller, and you can see here under where it says basic square, and it's got a whole bunch of letters because I've been working on it, that it's long. When it's long like that, you cannot usually do things on your mat. If you've got a long, and let me make this real skinnier and see if that makes it work. And actually it's not working now, but a lot of times if you are clicking over here and you're trying to change things and it won't change, the reason is because you've got too many letters there. It's too long. And to fix that, just drag it out and fix it to where there's space here, just by getting ready, or with your delete key or your backspace key, and get rid of some of that stuff. But anyway, I'm going to change this, and we'll just drag this over. Since I've got it magic selected, I can then change the color to black, and then I can go up here to the virtual mat and turn that to contrast to see what it would really look like. And actually that looks pretty good. And at this point in time, of course, that's when you would you'd size it for whatever tile you want. I've got it a little larger. Of course, there are 12 by 12 tiles out there. You could do this on a 12 by 12 tile if you wanted to. But at this point is when you would You decide what size that you would want it to be, and of course you magic select everything, and then you just can drag it, smaller for like a 6 by 6, a little larger for an 8 by 8, and then you can even drag it as big as you want it for if you wanted to do it on a 12 by 12 tile. You could also add a box around here if you wanted to. I mean, there's all kind of things that you could do. But now you've got the basics of exactly how you do this, and I want to see some really nice looking tiles. And this has actually sort of pushed me to even try the tiles and the vinyl again, because vinyl sort of scares me a little bit. I've used vinyl once, but um, I need to just jump in and try it again. So we'll both try it and we'll see what we can come up with. And I really hope this little tutorial has helped y'all out. Y'all have a good day.